everyone. I hope you had some fun adding figurative language to your narrative writing. Our next lesson is to look at beginnings. How do writers capture their readers' attention? And the first thing I want you to do is actually open up your writer's notebook, either the digital one or your print one, and then open up the Pear Deck. If we look at the table of contents on the digital writer's notebook, the lesson we are focusing on is how do writers grab the reader's attention. If you have a print notebook, I want you to open up a new page and write that title. Then in the Pear Deck, you will see these story starters. And I want you to take some notes about the different kind of story starters that there are, and write some of those notes and examples in your notebook. When you click on the link to the Pear Deck, you will see this title slide, How Do Writers Grab Their Readers' Attention? I'm going to be one of your readers, so you want to grab my attention too. Then let's take a look at these story starters, because I think it's really important that you understand them and take some really good notes. So one way that writers start their story is with dialogue or conversation. "Hurry, or you'll be late," called my mother from the bottom of the stairs. "Today of all days, you want to be on time." If I had only known what the day would bring, I'd stayed in bed. Another way of starting a story is with a question, and I know some people do this, so if this is something you do frequently, you might not want to do it in your narrative this time, but maybe you do. "Have you ever had a day when you wished you had stayed in bed? As I rushed to catch the bus on what seemed to be a perfectly normal day, I had no idea what was ahead of me." A vivid description. Sometimes an author sets the stage by giving you a little bit of information about the setting. "The sun was warm on my back as I raced toward the waiting school bus. The worn leather seat greeted me. Friendly voices hummed all around. With a jerk, the bus rumbled down the road." An interesting fact. Now, I think this is kind of interesting because it's not necessarily a fact. Shock has been known to kill 10-year-olds. It can cause their brains to explode and their hearts can stop dead still. These facts raced through my mind as I stood dumbfounded. I think if you think back to the figurative language that we just talked about, this one is probably more hyperbole than fact, but I think you get the idea. You can start with a sound effect. Remember those onomatopoeias. Bzzz. The sound of the alarm clock droned in the room. I struggled to wake up. With a start, I sat straight up in my bed. This was my big day, and I had to be on time. When I read this one, I kind of laughed because my husband got up this morning and went to the gym, and he forgot to turn off his alarm, so it didn't drone, it blared, and it made me jump. Anyway, it made me wake up right away. So then the next thing you're going to do is think back to this story that we read about the mashed potato pizza. And if you read the beginning, my grandpa always tells me that people who laugh at their own mistakes will get everyone else to laugh along with them. Yesterday, I learned that he is right. That's a pretty good introduction. "Stay in here," Mrs. Martin said. I knew right away that my friend Naomi wouldn't be able to cut. So you see, there's a little bit of dialogue there. What I want you to do is change the beginning of this story. Use one different type of story starter to the left. So maybe you want to start with a question. Maybe you want to start with a description or an interesting fact or a sound effect. So on this slide where it says students write your response, please make sure that you do write a response. I check them. So I want to see if you're understanding the lesson. All right, and then really what I want you to do is try a couple of different beginnings to your story, your narrative, and that is all you have to do. Thank you. Have fun.